ladies and gentlemen. I welcome each one of you to CEO Talk Mumbai. This is an initiative by The Talk. My name is Anmol Garg, and I'm going to be your moderator for today. I'm the co-founder of a company called Sales 5X, which is into sales training and consulting. CEO Talk is a platform that helps sharing ideas and insights to transform organizations and to create a better and transparent forum for meaningful business relationships and partnerships. This event is brought to you by Tata Tele Business Services. It's the country's leading enabler of connectivity and communication solutions for businesses. With services ranging from connectivity, collaboration, cloud, security, IoT, and marketing solutions, Tata Tele Business Services offers the largest portfolio of ICT services for businesses in India. And I have JanisDas with me today. She's the Regional Marketing Head, Mumbai Tata Teleservices. Janis, if you could share a few words with us.
Yeah. Hello and welcome once again to all the speakers and a very good evening. Myself, JanisDas, I lead the marketing function in Mumbai region. And I will talk about how in COVID-19, TTBS, they are utilizing their core strengths and what is their marketing strategy. So primarily, we are here to empower the businesses with innovative bespoke solutions that help them maintain business continuity. And as we all know, during this COVID-19 pandemic, which has hit all of us very badly in an unexpected manner, when we there last year making our AOPs and business plan for this year, I think none of us, I don't think even in India, in the world has envisaged and provisioned such a kind of pandemic which will hit us and, things will change drastically. So COVID-19 is shaping the business environment across. And as such, digital tech capabilities are taking the center stage to ensure business survival and growth. So hence, digital agility will be a critical factor for the newly remote workforce so that, they are able to communicate and collaborate effectively and for all employees and customers to have reliable access to applications and services that they need. So here, keeping the situation in mind, and we understand that, the economy still has to grow, the businesses has to run, and we have to balance safety and business. At Tata Tele Business Services, our overall strategy is to continue to empower the business with innovative bespoke solutions so that it helps them maintain business continuity. What we anticipate is the speed of digital transformation to accelerate across SMEs in 2020, given their experience during the pandemic. Since the outbreak of the pandemic, we have seen an uptake in the adoption of new age digital technologies like cloud-based solutions, collaboration solutions, IoT, data management, and this is not to name a few industry. It is hitting all across industries. Also, with Industry 4.0 being a key growth driver for us, our growth strategy is centered around strengthening our portfolio of services, especially in the areas of SaaS, IaaS, IoT, and cloud, while simultaneously enhancing our network, channel, and sales capabilities to cover as much of the enterprise footprint as possible. We shall continue to play the big role of technology enabler to the enterprises by providing digital platforms that significantly impact the competitiveness of our customers and enable them to do big and be ahead of the curve when compared to their competitors. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. I love the phrase digital agility. I think now these words are being used together. All right, I now invite Mr. Manish Singh. He's the General Manager, SME Operations, Mumbai Tata Teleservices, to deliver the opening note.
Yeah, thanks. Good afternoon to all, and I hope my voice is audible.
Yes,
I hope
Manish.
it's clear. Okay, great. So good afternoon to all, and thanks for joining in. My name is Manish Singh. So I basically take care of the operations, SME operations for the Mumbai circle. So basically TTBS, which is Tata Tele Business Services, is divided into four zones. So one is north, the other is south, then west, and Mumbai. So Mumbai itself is a region for us because of the opportunities that the city gives to across business lines. Now, as Janice was saying, and definitely we never planned for this kind of a situation. So when we were doing our AOP budget planning last year, we had never foreseen that a calamity like this could hit us so hard. uh, However, I have seen a lot of positives also, and I'm sure all of you must have also seen a lot of positives in this pandemic in terms of the kind of opportunities that we have got because of this pandemic. And it won't be wrong to say that crisis does give birth to opportunities and also innovation. Uh, so if I kind of step back a bit, probably late March when the lockdown started, it really hit us hard, and we were kind of little, I wouldn't be wrong in saying confused as to what should be our next step. But thanks to the strong product team that we have, which were able to innovate a lot of products, which really helped the SMEs who were primarily working out of homes, and some 30 to 35 products were launched by Tata Tele Business Services in this span of about 5 6 months. And all these products were kind of targeted only to help out these SMEs working out of from homes. uh, just giving some very basic examples, I think then it'll be very easy to relate. uh, so BPO probably was one segment which really got hit hard because of this, and people were indoors, the agents were indoors, they were not able to come to their offices. And so we were quickly able to launch cloud telephony services where an agent could sit at home, and with a URL given to him or her, he or she was able to get in touch with the clients and patch the call with their mainframe, which was back in office. So one such service was this. Then we also launched remote access VPN, where the workforce who were limited to their homes were able to access their servers through a very secure tunnel, which we were able to design, uh, keeping in mind that they could be using a broadband connection at home or probably on their 4G last mile. We were able to do this solution. So I guess a lot of such products had come in. We launched web conferencing and webcasting for the educational segment, and for all those who wants to launch new products or campaigns. So webcasting as a product was very successful, and it is still really being very successful as we are doing more and more development in these products. Hence, what we saw that yes, we did face a little bit of challenge in the month of April, but May onwards, with these new products, with these new innovative products, we were able to generate good amount of interest among the SMEs, and quite a few SMEs did get hooked onto us with these products. So necessarily this crisis really gave birth to opportunities and innovation. And the whole objective of this kind of a program or this kind of a platform is to understand and get feedbacks from you, because you've been running businesses, and it's very critical for Tata Tele Business Services to understand the challenges being faced by SMEs and how they're able to control those challenges and win over it. So that's it from my side, Janice. I think we can start the formal program. Thank you.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you for setting the precedent for this discussion. So let's dive into our roundtable. The theme of today's discussion is rising to the challenge with the tech advantage. And I'm joined by a very able panel today. I have with me Mr. Arjun Vaidya, CEO of Dr. Vaidya, Mr. Vaibhav Jhalani, Director, Diya Design Studio Private Limited, Mr. Manish Naidu, CEO, Brainwonders, Mr. Ajay Thakur, Head SME and Startups PSC Limited, and Mr. Aashutosh Taparia, Business Head, BigBasket. Ladies and gentlemen, firstly, thank you so much for taking time out and joining this discussion today. The format is going to be very simple. I have 5 questions, and I would love to get your views on each of these questions. A humble request to all the panelists is to keep your answers short and crisp. The idea is to hear from everyone and make sure that we wrap on time. All right. Having said that, let's get started. My first question, which I'm going to, post across to everyone, a quick 90-second take on how has the pandemic affected your business. I think I would want to start on a smiling note, so I'm going to go across to Ashutosh.
Yeah, hi Anmol, thank you. So
Yeah.
myself Aashutosh, I represent BigBasket, and so COVID had led us to a lot of hard times initially. When the lockdown was announced by the Honorable Prime Minister earlier, we really struggled to get our groceries back up. So much so that literally that was the first time we shut down in 5 years of operations, wherein for 3 days we did not deliver a single order during the end of March. But thankfully that was the need of the hour, and there was a lot of support eventually from the authorities and the government on trying to get the essentials back to the public. And after that, although we started from zero, so March was tending to be a good month for me, because normally year endings are better months for grocery sales, and it literally collapsed to almost zero for the last few days. We slowly but steadily bounced back, and quarter 1 for us was a time of literally scaling up from zero, and we took advantage of the opportunity that was presented to us. So COVID provided us with a lot of tailwinds, which helps us reach into those households. And there was also a lot of need of the hour, so a lot of people relied on their groceries, and they were not getting enough means to get them done. At the same time, physical retail was closed for many places. There was also, hotels and restaurants were closed. So we decided to give employment to many of these guys wherever we could. So a lot of stewards actually joined us as a picker in our warehouse staff. A lot of other retailers, employees joined us as a delivery people. Even we had Ola, Uber, Zoom car delivering our orders using their cars, because everything else was stopped. So we got good support from all around, and eventually, if I see, COVID did provide us with a very strong tailwind, which has led to my business actually growing much faster than what we would have envisaged. I personally feel the growth of e-commerce was inevitable, but the speed at which it happened in the last 1 year is due to these external environment that we were not ready for. So overall, I think COVID has brought to my business a lot of opportunity, and it's yet to be seen, how the customers take it.
Sure, Ashutosh, I suppose you'll be working 14, 16 hours a day last couple of months.
Yeah, so it was hard. So while there was a lockdown, I have been literally had to travel outside from day one. Although, as I said, there was a lot of support that we got. Crazy times back then. So we were literally doing double of what we normally do, and still, facing brickbats from people saying that you don't have capacity. It reached a point wherein we literally decided to share our daily number with the customer. So every day we had a ticker saying these many lakhs of orders delivered, so that people don't feel that we are delivering less, because we're actually delivering more. And still, because of the demand was so high, many people were not able to get their orders.
Right. Sure. Sure. Manish, coming to you, you're from the education space. How did the lockdown affect you?
Thanks, Anmol. And like everybody, the lockdown affected in a way which we would have never evangelized. Earlier on, it was sort of a shock, not knowing what to do, because we are the largest career counseling company in the country. We have more than 108 centers. And the B2C market, so the sort of people who wanted to do career counseling, for the first few months, it never worked out. But thankfully, what saved the day and what happened to us much more strongly was that we got a lot of franchisee entrepreneurship inquiries. So the number of inquiries just, I think it grew by almost 400%. So earlier we used to get almost 40 to 45 inquiries to start a franchisee. Eventually it went to close to 200 to 250 inquiries per week. That is because the rest of the sectors never worked in terms of hotel, tours and travels. So a lot of sectors apart from FMCG and hospitality, those were the only sectors left, and education and technology is a very strong aspect. So it helped us. We then went back and we started working on the core product of technology. So now, so what happens is, generally when you have a free-flowing business, you really don't work out behind and see how good your technology is. And this gave us a forced option to have our security, our technical aspects and everything in place. So then we rolled out our IQ, psychometric, aptitude, interest, and we rolled out to at least 8 different corporates in the last 6 months. So earlier on, it was a shock not knowing what to do, but we eventually recovered much more faster than we would have otherwise predicted. And it was a blessing in disguise, if I could use the crude word, but it did help us understand how to reach out to the market when the schools are closed. So we always felt that school is the only way to reach out to the B2C market. But digital marketing, SEO, SEM, I mean, there were almost 6 to 8 hours of daily analytical code of understanding how the Google or how the whole technology works. So I think if one thing which COVID has taught you is technology. And that being a technology enabled company helped us much more faster grow into it. HR helped. So I am happy with what I am.
It looks like Diwali's come early for you.
Yeah,
Moving
sort
to
of.
Vaibhav.
Yeah.
Vaibhav, you're from the fashion space. How did the lockdown affect your business?
Frankly speaking, we would have lost around, from last year, if I compare, we have lost around 80% of our turnover. So my brand, basically, Diya Design Studio, is based in Mumbai. We manufacture women's apparel and fashion, and we supply, it's a B2B business. So we supply throughout the country, probably from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. We are very prominent in the South Indian market, but we work on a very grassroots level. So all these retailers who sell clothes, they actually travel to Mumbai to my store. They feel the fabric, and then they make a purchase. Now, obviously, we lost. If I talk about my business and my industry, we've lost huge business because we lost on all the major festival seasons, which the whole business is connected. So like we've lost on the Eid season, the Vishu season, the summer season, the Onam, these are the big festivals, the Holi, everything. Last 2 months has been great. So if I talk about business, yeah, we did lose a huge chunk of business in last 6 months. But again, there was a good section, as in business works on credit. So to many of you, that is the time when you realize that what are the things you should do, what are the correct things, what are the wrong things. Usually life you're so busy that you don't realize it. So it's been a great learning experience, and also on a personal level, how your life is important, how your health is important, how important are your friends, and even how a network is so important. So it's a very, what do you say, like a cyclone kind of journey. We have some business, but we've really worked hard. We have great support from people working from us. We all are, I was COVID positive a couple of months back, and I missed again 15 days of work. But yeah, we are fighting on, and in our industry, all we, like people from our industry, they just say that you're surviving this particular year. If you survive, then obviously on probably next year we are hoping things will be better. Yeah.
Sure. I'm sure you're going to see green shoots coming in very quickly. Moving to you, Arjun, from a healthcare perspective, has the lockdown, how's it changed your business?
Fortunately for us, to be honest, we are one, an Ayurvedic products business, and two, we've been online focused from day one. And so these were two sort of aspects of our business that created a perfect storm. I think most people would have seen the increased demand, interest, and sort of consumption of Ayurvedic products through this pandemic period. Herbs like ashwagandha and giloy, which were and terms like immunity, which were considered by the way categories in India before Feb, have now become essentials. And so that was really a fundamental change, right? If you talk to me about Ayurveda, I've been in the Ayurvedic product space for the last 4 years, but my family's been in the space for 150 years. I think the last 5 years have been the renaissance for Ayurveda. And this event itself is an inception point. And the great part was that people were coming to Ayurveda and asking questions. But the best way or the easiest way to consume Ayurveda was through e-commerce. And we had our sort of chain built already. So we work with platforms like BigBasket, as well as our own website. We were able to get our operations up very quickly. So as Aashutosh said, to be honest, the biggest nightmare was shutting. And we were shut for 10 days. But once we started sort of reopening, and I've been in the office actually from April 7th, every single day. There was a huge amount of demand, a huge amount of interest, and as long as you're delivering the consumer a high quality product, and you're delivering the consumer in the right way, I think for us at least, the situation has not tended to be as bad as for other industries. Look, I'm not going to paint a sort of rosy picture and say it's fantastic, it's great. We still have only 35-40% of our team back in the office. Coordination is a challenge, logistics are big problems. But overall, as compared to other industries, I think healthcare and e-commerce have had a better situation.
Right. They've surely had a better run. Moving to you, Ajay, you work very closely with SMEs. Uh, Considering the SME sector, how has the lockdown affected the entire sector?
I divide it into two parts. No, SME sector as a whole, it's a bunch of various sectors of various sectors. Okay, as the co-panelist has said that one or two sector related to e-commerce, healthcare, they have done well, but other sector got badly impacted. And if you take the MSME as a whole into consideration, and let me tell you, in India, 98% of the MSMEs are into informal sector, who are not getting the benefit of government initiatives or the banks or other NBFCs. They are badly impacted. And in fact, because you can't take them into consideration, you don't know what is their state of affair. That is the first thing. There is a second thing, okay, where there are some companies which are into the formal sector, and there are some e-commerce companies who have got funds from the PE and VC space. So they have got a lot of chunks of money through which they are sustaining. But let me tell you that most of the sectors, because of this lockdown, which was one of the strictest lockdown that we have seen in the entire world, where that for 3 months, the whole country was under lockdown. All the businesses were under standstill. And for MSME sector, 3 months is a big time period, because they are badly impacted because of the working capital cycle. And this is totally creating a big hole in their pocket, whatever we say. Now, there is another thing, as far as BSE is concerned, through Bombay Stock Exchange, that is widely known by the people. I don't think anyone is unaware about this Bombay Stock Exchange, BSE. No, we have done well. I think before anybody would have ever talked about networking, tech, or IT space, we have got ourselves automated way back into 96, when we have shifted from up and outcry system to online trading platform. And if you see in last 6-7 months of the lockdown period, we have added almost 2.5 crores of UCC or individual clients into our system. And the businesses, if you see, it has grown. We have not been closed at any point of time, even when there was 3 months lockdown, or even after that. And in this period, let me tell you, all the companies together have raised almost 4 lakh crore rupees from this market. Even the SME platform which we have launched, it has acted as a blessing in disguise in this period, because almost 16 to 17 SMEs have already filed their prospectus, got themselves listed, and raised 100 crore rupees from the capital market. And now they have started doing well. So we have to, we have to think from all the perspective that what has happened. There is no doubt, because there is no doubt in this, that whatever the people say, that most of the companies' balance sheet has been badly impacted, whether you talk about SMEs, whether you talk about e-commerce, or whether you talk about MSME sector as a whole, whether it's a asset light model based company, or it's a asset heavy company. All of them got impacted. Schools, colleges, university, everything got closed. Now, but as the economy starts opening up, we have seen demands once again picking up. We have seen in the last month, it's October month itself, India has, or the government has got GST, which crossed almost 1 lakh crore rupees, which is a clear sign that we have, our economy has started picking pace. That's a very good news for all of us. And I think the another thing that what I feel is that India as a country where the recovery rate is quite high. If you see the mortality rate, it is just 1%, or you can say 1.25%. So I think these things are working well, and in favor of the country like India. And I'm quite sure with the time, we will see the economy coming to its pace. But only thing which is creating a big problem for all of us is that inflation is going high, and which is a matter of concern.
Right, right. It surely is. But a follow-up question to everyone and a quick take. Ashutosh, H2 looking much better. You've already seen the green shoots, but do you think H2 is going to be much better? Ashutosh, if you could unmute yourself.
So I personally felt, as Ajay sir also were saying, that the recovery has been faster. Obviously, there is a long way to go, as he was also putting it out. When we got a lot of demand after the COVID lockdown, there was an expectation that the demand should continue, but most probably it won't, right? So once the market starts opening up, people should go back to normal and the demand will go down. Specifically looking from a grocery space, I am seeing, the things are definitely moving back to normal with festivities coming around, people starting their festive shopping. I have seen people picking up gift boxes. Buying behavior is slowly turning back to normal. Having said that, while these numbers are much larger than the last year for us, at the trend level, say I have doubled twice of last year, these products are doing only 1.5x, which just means that still the discretionary buying is on a lower end. It has started. So the pent up demand, which was there for 6 months, will obviously have to come in somewhere, right? So that way the demand is picking up, but it is nowhere close to cover up whatever we have already lost. And that is my biggest fear, so as to say. And just wanted to leave with that note. Having said that, I do think H2 will be much better. It won't be able to cover up the pains that we had in H1, but I do foresee a strong route to recovery.
Sure. Manish, you've gone digital in many ways. So do you think H2 will help you go back to pre-COVID levels?
Yeah, definitely. I think we have already gone to the pre-COVID level with respect to the B2B inquiries, which has not only saved the day for us, but also accelerated the growth of acquisition of various territories. So right from where we were close to 80 territories earlier on, now we have moved on to almost 108 territories. And I would see that the H2 would move on much more faster for us, because most of us have seen the worst, like how Vaibhav and the rest of them were saying that the only way is upwards. There's no other way to move in. And with people it's like the World War II bombing. When Hitler carpet bombed the whole of the city, after a point of time, the general tendency or the psychology of the survivors were that nothing is going to happen. The worst has been done. So even if it is COVID, non-COVID, the herd mentality has started setting in, that the only way forward is to work ahead and do it with all the protected mask and everything moving into it. And thankfully, we have a stable government both in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and SME, MSME with Ajay Thakur and the rest of the people have already formulated a way in which the SMEs are also getting a lot of money. The government gave ex gratia money to the people who have not done to the credit. So everyone in their own aspects have been helping us, right from the BigBasket, who has been delivering the groceries, to people like Tata Teleservices, who have been helping with a lot of broadband connectivity. And I think the only way moving is upward. But yes, for us, it is definitely going to be, maybe what we are looking at is at least twice the margin of amount of what we have earned in the first 6 months. So it is. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but it's a rosy moment for us, is what I would say.
Sure, I'm keeping my fingers crossed as well when you said that the worst is over, because there are talks of the second wave. Arjun, I hope the second wave is not coming. And then how do you think H2 is going to turn out for you?
Yeah, so to be honest, I don't have any view on the second wave actually, because Europe has gone into lockdown. I think that, normalcy, or sort of heading or moving towards normalcy, is slowly happening. If I talk from an e-commerce perspective, I think that the festive sales have done reasonably okay on the platforms like Flipkart and Amazon, which have more discretionary. BigBasket obviously is still grocery, and so it will continue to do well. But there is some discretionary spend that is happening, which had completely stopped for some point, right? So I think As humans, we have a very short memory, and so we seem to have forgotten how life was in April, May, and June, because life was completely different in that period of time. But I'll tell you one thing which is very interesting, right? There has been a fundamental change in behavior in certain aspects. So my parents, for example, may be parents of an e-commerce entrepreneur, but they didn't shop on e-commerce. Now, through the lockdown, my father did his first transaction on Amazon, and my mom did her first payment on Google Pay, and now it's a part of their life. So my father buys everything from Amazon. My mother buys everything from, makes payments on Google Pay, etc. All of that. And so what these last 6 months have done may have been sort of reduction in consumption, etc., which will take time to get back. But there are certain fundamental changes that have happened in the consumer behavior, in the ecosystem, that will stay with us for a long time. So short answer, is H2 going to be better? I think it will be, because we're already seeing signs of it improve. Now, how much better, and whether we will resume to complete consumption pre-COVID, or will we still keep some money to save, that only, to be honest, a vaccine will tell us, because until people are moving out freely and going back to the office and feeling normal, you will not consume normal, right? So me, for a fact, I've not been to a restaurant yet, and even though restaurants have opened in Mumbai, I'm not ready to go. But I think that there is a gradual movement towards normalcy that's happening, and on a daily basis we're seeing steps. They may be baby steps, but there are steps.
Right. I just hope those baby steps become bigger and we will go back to normal. Vaibhav, the festive mood has set in. So now, do you see your sales going back if you were to compare it with festive sales last year?
Yeah, so especially I think September, October, last 2 months have been really good. Now, the kind of industry I belong from, we supply to the retailers of different states. Now, again, India is a huge country, and the COVID situation and the rules from the local government, it's pretty different. So things are very different with different states. For example, like Kerala has, the laws are very stringent. Whereas if you can see in Mumbai right now, there's a traffic jam and there are people without mask. So last 2 months, sale-wise has been great. The festive mood is like good. It's picking up. Business is good. But you never know, any state, any particular territory, something comes up and the rule changes. There is a partial lockdown, because again, India is a huge country with like 40 states or something. So things are different at different places. But yeah, things are, at least last 2 months, I could say, throughout the country, the sale has been good. In fact, the previous Sunday, throughout the country, the sales for apparel, for clothes, basically in malls and mid-level stores has been outstanding. I think everyone is smiling. Yeah.
That's good to know. Let's find out from Ajay. Ajay, do you think SMEs are now recording in more revenues in the second half?
See, we need to do some reality checkup. Okay, if you see, since 2016 post demonetization, Indian economy has started slowing down. If we see the last quarter of 1920, our growth was hardly around 4.2%. So on the backdrop of this slow economic slowdown, we have come out with this situation of pandemic. So as far as SMEs balance sheets are concerned, they were already stressed, and this this pandemic has acted as nail in the coffin. Okay, so situation was literally bad. This 3 months of lockdown has created a big hole in their pocket. Okay, and of course now there is a need of introspection by these SME promoters. Okay. Now, gone are those days whereby you will keep on doing your business conservatively and think of growing 5%, 7%, or 8%. No, this will not work. Let me tell you, you have to bring the best practices in your company if you want to grow. India is a country of huge population. You can't see only the domestic market. You have to see the external markets also. And you need to depend on both the things, domestic business as well as exports. At the same time, you need to be in the formal sector to enjoy all the benefits that are being provided by the government, by the stock exchanges, by the banks, and by the NBFC. And at the same time, there is a need of digitization. Now, why there is a need of digitization is because that will reduce the cost. Okay. And once, so therefore it is very necessary for the promoters, you have to take the lessons from the past. And because of the pandemic, this unprecedented situation can come any point of time. You should be ready for all these shocks. Okay. Now there is a second thing. Okay. Can the government afford locking down the country once again? I have my own doubts that the government will go for lockdown, because when there was only 5,000 or 2,000, COVID positive patient, government has gone for lockdown. Today we have almost 86 lakh, 87 lakh COVID patients recovering almost 81, 82 lakh. Government will avoid going for strict lockdown, but rather they will talk about social distancing. And therefore the best example of that is, government has gone for elections in all the states, if you see. And in the time of election, you can hardly think of social distancing. So I have my own doubts that the government will go for lockdown. So if the government will not go for lockdown and will go as per the subdued rate of interest, whereby interest rate is somewhere around 7 to 8%, at which the corporates can get. At the same time, if they can have, because the capital market is very robust and vibrant, so they can even raise funds from the capital market. And the third option is of private equity funding. So if we take all these things into account and SMEs start doing the introspection of themselves, I don't think anything can stop them from growing. But let me tell you, I have done almost 2,200 seminars in last 7 years, trying to create awareness among the SMEs about the best practices, about the listing into the stock exchange, met almost 31,000 promoters of the SME and almost 15,000 financial advisors. But let me tell you, only 331 companies got listed on BSE SME platform. So you can understand, now the promoters should not remain passive. They have to be active and try to open up their mind and try to, formalize themselves and adopt the best practices that are available today in our country, and then think of growing.
Sure.
So that is the only way to grow. Otherwise, Darwin has said long back, survival of the fittest. If you are not fit, you will not survive. Just forget about that.
Tough words coming, Ajay, showing us tough love today. But yes, I think it's important for all of us to hear that time to take action, move into the formal sector so that you can get benefits that the country has to offer. A quick question to, again, everyone. Do you think work from home is here to stay? Or do you think that post, let's say the vaccine comes, we'll go back to office, or we are kind of moving to a hybrid model? Ashutosh, you also had something to add for the previous question, and I think you can take both of them up.
Right. So this will in turn actually, add to what you have asked right now regarding work from home. So I personally, since I did not stop going to office, I do realize, I was actively going, but wherever I get an opportunity, for example, today I'm working from home, right? So work from home will become more and more acceptable for sure as an option, right? Because earlier it was expected that if you're in the office, you're working, if you're at home, you're not working, which will not be the case. So I think that fundamental shift in the perception will definitely happen. Having said this, I also feel that a lot of roles which are, non-people specific will shift to work from home. So for example, most of the IT companies have tried to shift most of their work from home, right? Even my product team, my tech team and all are working from their hometowns actually. And one data point which I would like to share is, so my friend in Swiggy told me that their ordering in tier 2 towns has gone up, while the metro cities has gone down a little bit. And the interesting part is the users are the same. So I was ordering from Mumbai. Now I am going back to my hometown in Gorakhpur. And because I know Swiggy, I'm ordering in Gorakhpur from Swiggy, right? And this is a very interesting phenomenon. We also checked it on in BigBasket. We don't have as rich a T2 coverage, but we have actually seen our ordering customers from Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai, not ordering from these places and instead ordering from Nagpur, Indore, Bhopal, Mysore, and so on, right? So they are able to do so only because the option of work from home is there. So I do think work from home will increase in prevalence, not maybe as much as the last 6 months, but it will definitely become a viable alternative. So that's what I'm trying to add.
Sure. Right. Arjun, work from home, have your employees, I know you've been in office from April 7th, but what about your employees, or is it everyone's back to office?
Yeah, it's a tough one, yeah, if you think about it, because, I give someone this example. There was a time when I went to Hyderabad for a 20-minute meeting. Now, there was no need for me to go to Hyderabad for that 20-minute meeting, but I flew from Mumbai to Hyderabad, took a morning flight, drove from the airport to the office to the person I had to meet, waited for him for 15 minutes, met him for 20 minutes, had nothing else to do, caught up with a friend, had a meal, and flew back to Bombay. I lost a full day of work, right? So I think that is now over. This conversation that we are having would have never happened before using this kind of platform. Now it's happening using this kind of platform. So I think that's gonna change, and Google Hangouts and Zoom calls and sort of these kind of digital meetups, WebEx calls, etc., are acceptable. Having said that, I still believe that person-to-person interaction physically is important, and so I'm not a proponent of the complete work from home culture. So I think that having a meeting, being face to face, understanding each other's body languages. Look, a lot of us are right now with our video on, but in most cases, when you join a Google Hangout, your video is always off, right? So I think that's a challenge that people are facing. And if you ask me, I think until things resume, not resume, sorry, until things are safe, I think a hybrid culture is the way to go. So as Aashutosh was saying, as far as like when you can get a chance, work from home. But if you need to be somewhere, or coordination becomes easier if you're there physically present, then we should try to balance that, and that's my view.
Sure. Vaibhav, hybrid or
My business is very people centric. We do need lots of workforce because the nature of business is such. So we literally have to, like pack everything. There's logistics involved. There's, lots of transportation, phone calls happening. So my work is pretty like people centric. But we've cut down on some things which were not required. But still, for me and my industry, my work, I think work from home is still not an option as of now. But maybe a couple of years down the line. Yeah.
sure. Manish, have you moved the entire game online?
So earlier it was difficult to accept that your work from home would give you the similar result as to how you could do it when everybody is there in-house, But I would add on to what Ashutosh and Arjun have said, and when there is people-centric business, as how Vaibhav says, you need to have human resource around. But there are few technologies like IT, like my whole IT works from 4 different corners. Now, the beauty of the whole aspect is that India is a diversified country within the country. So you get the best of the technical resources from Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai. You get the best of the financial resources from Mumbai. You get the best of the telecalling team from Delhi. You could connect to better resources from tier 2, tier 3 cities who have moved out to their places, and they would be more reasonably coming onto it. So I feel that an hybrid model where a lot of non-core businesses can be outsourced to people who work from home, having the right technological setup to monitor it, is going to be a huge game changer for people who understand that. So work from home has a lot of trust factor involved into it, and when you have the right sort of technologies involved, where you're not spying on it, but yes, you know that there is a dictum, there is technology enabled services which helps you identify and monitor your work around. It's the best of the both worlds. You can do it virtually, you can do it physically, and there are some sales processes which definitely would want a one-to-one interaction. For example, we do DMIT, which is a genetic intelligence test. So we take fingerprints, and a 24-page report comes in. So earlier on, we used to do it by sending the person. They used to go, they have to take it on the scan. But last month, 2 months back, almost 80 odd newspapers covered us, where we launched the app digitally. So now people at their home would just download the app, they would take the fingerprints, they would send it to us, the report goes to our patented office, comes back, and then we do an online counseling. So that has definitely saved us a lot of time, resource, money, and counselors sitting at home or in a position to also counsel the people who are sitting at home at either ends. So all the three stays, but yeah, I mean, at the best of the world, you would always want people to stay in front of you. But I think the promoters and the proprietors and the directors have been more aligned and used to the fact that yes, you can get similar work done even if you have people working from home.
Right. Similar sentiments, Ajay. Most of the panelists are of the view that it helps you boost productivity. And especially if you stay in a city like Bangalore, where I am, you'll typically spend 4 hours traveling back and forth. So work from home is a huge saving.
If you, if you see BSc, we have been working for last 6 months, and almost everyone was working from work from home. So it went on smoothly. Let me tell you one thing, any unprecedented situation, any unforeseen circumstances, teaches you some or other lesson. Okay, in these 6-7 months, it was the situation of survival. No, people were innovating, people were doing research how to survive, and one of the things that emerges was work from home. Okay, and by working from home, people have learned a lot. See, for example, IT companies. Now IT companies think that they don't require such a huge infrastructure. They don't require people to work from office. They can work from home and give the same productivity. There are many other companies whereby those people who are not required in their offices and who can give the same productivity by working from home, I think they will keep on doing like that. They will adopt the same practice, because ultimately now the cost cutting will be a major factor. And if by doing this type of cost cutting, the productivity will be same or more than that, then people will adopt the same practices and they will keep on doing. So it will be mix and match, as you all have talked about hybrid structure. But of course, I think this type of structure is going to increase the efficiency of the company. And if the efficiency of the company is going to increase, then the management of the companies are going to take the decision accordingly. So I think that in almost all companies, you talk about manufacturing, you talk about logistics, you talk about asset light model company, which are IT company. At least if those companies where all the people are required, they may think about having at least 20-25% people working from home. If you have got more tech-based company, they will love to have 50% people working from home. And if and even if they feel that even 70-80% people can work from home and contribute a lot, then they will adopt the same practice. Ultimately, this year will be the year of survival, and the company's management will take all the actions depending upon the prevailing situations. And in prevailing situation,
Right.
people will keep on innovating, and whatever will be the best for the company, they will do.
Right. Right. As you rightly said, survive this year so that you can thrive the next year. Uh, in fact, there's a joke which is going around, which is what has brought about digital transformation in your company. The options are CEO, CTO, and third one, of course, is COVID. Uh, in fact, Manish was talking about how he's implemented an app using which fingerprints is very easy. So, my specific question to each one of you is: what kind of technology have you adopted that you've leveraged that has helped you during the lockdown? Probably starting with you, Vaibhav.
Considering my brand and B2B business throughout the country, also we do most of my business is like literally in the interiors, like really 3 tiers city kind of places, like small places. Still, they are not that technologically, updated. But this year, what has changed for me as a B2B brand is a simple app like a WhatsApp has really helped me. It's just a simple thing. My staff can use it, and they send pictures and we get orders. And so I think at least with my current scenario and the kind of people whom I deal with, a simple WhatsApp has helped me a lot in terms of sales. There is certainly not a full satisfaction where actually a client comes and feels the fabric. But now, because they have to trust us somewhere, and traveling is not much possible right now. So I could say at least, and we got some new gadgets. We got some more laptops. Now we are selling, a kurti on a Zoom call or sending pictures on WhatsApp. So that has really helped me during the pandemic. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Something as simple as WhatsApp can actually go a long
Yeah.
way in helping you.
Yeah.
Right. Manish, that was a very interesting, initiative where you said you launched the app. What other things have you used, to probably bring down your costs, simplify your ops?
So as I said, when the work from home happened, there was a lot of coordination work which needed to happen. And that's when we started understanding and realizing the potential of using a unified CRM. We always used it, but we never felt the thought of it because everybody was sitting and there was inherent report which used to come. So what we did is definitely along with the technological app which saved us a lot of cost and also increased the business. What we did is we focused completely on the CRMs. We took a lot of technological softwares like Hubstaff, which helped us to monitor people. And as Vaibhav said, obviously there are a lot of gadgets which we took in on. But apart from that, a lot of technological stuff like a crazy egg to understand how the installation model works in onto your website, something like Facebook analytics tool or a lot of data analytics tool to understand how the user journey of your clients is, which otherwise we did not do it. So we spent a lot on digital tool to understand the user experience with our website, our portal, our app better. So I think we took close to I think 11 or 12 different softwares possible to digitize the whole platforms so that it becomes more of a process driven company rather than a only a people centric driven company, which has now helped us understand grow the market much more exponentially now that we have the right tools in place.
Great. Glad that all these systems are actually working and you've put in place at the right time. Arjun, what kind of technology have you adopted last couple of months?
I think for us, the real sort of critical game here was, can we use technology to improve the customer experience, right? And so communication with customers, um, getting feedback from customers, making appointment booking easier for customers. This was our key focus through the pandemic, right? We realized that as one of the speakers before me said, that coordination was really easy when everyone was sitting in the office, but given that you're not in the office anymore, your systems were stretched, right? And you realized where the breaks in your system were, because just because people are sort of closer together, you can put bandages on the system, but when people are further from each other, the bandages are not able to be put, and you find those breaks in your system, right? So whether it's CRM, whether it was tech, whether it was operations, whether it was customer service, all of these things we had to sort of improve our processes. And as you said, right, who sort of made the tech change or the tech transformation of our company. And the reality is that a lot of things we had in pipeline, which we said we'll do with time, we'll think about it. We had 2 weeks of a lean period, right, when we were shut, from sort of end of March to first week of April. And we did a lot of these things which we were planning to do in this time. So I think it gave us a lot of it gave a fillip to the tech transformation, which may have taken a very long time.
Sure, sure. Ashutosh, BigBasket has been at the frontier of tech, right? But I'm sure it's been a logistical nightmare, given the volumes that you were clocking in. And so how did you collaborate with your employees? What kind of technology did you put in, which you were previously not using?
Right. So I'll first, bring you through a story of mine. When I joined BigBasket, I was told about Mr. Tejas Vyas, who was the IT guy. And so internet went down, they used to call Tejas Vyas. And the first time I met Tejas Vyas, he told me, hi, I'm Tejas, I'm the product manager. And I got a bit confused saying, "Yaar, people call you the IT guy and you are calling the product manager." So he told me, "Yaar, BigBasket product is not the aloo pyaz tomato that you sell. It is the tech platform that I built for you, which is how the customers access you. You are just a means to the service. The actual product that we have is the website, is the app." So I would say that operations and all were very difficult, definitely, only because of the fact that we were facing the risk of going outside during those tough times of COVID lockdown. But the biggest breakthrough that we had to serve our customer was were all on the tech front, and we made huge leaps in terms of how a lot of projects which were a long way down the line got preponed. At the same time, a lot of things which we had earlier not envisaged, saying, "Yeah, why do we need this? No use for that," were suddenly brought into the limelight. So I'll tell you very one small example. We don't have any option to prioritize a customer. Okay. So there is no way I can say ki I will take your order first before anyone else. And that the simple reason is we always felt the customer is pivotal, right? And all customers are equal. And we never thought that, for example, you are not getting a tomorrow's order. We will give you the order of day after tomorrow or 2 days later, right? In fact, in the worst of times, you even give an order 4 days later, but never later than that, right? And there was no issues with that. There was an option that if you have an order 4 days later, I can prepone your order to today, which again makes logical sense, right? So the order is there, I can move it around and prioritize it. During COVID, we once uploaded slots for 15 days, and the 15-day slot got filled in 1 day. And that is when we realized that this is not fair. You can't ask a customer to book something like a grocery 15 days in advance. And then if something happens on the 10th, 12th or 13th day in terms of a containment zone coming off everything, you will leave that guy hanging. So what we decided that we will only have orders worth 2 days. So today I will only accept orders till day after tomorrow. And then we'll ensure that all the orders are delivered, which was, I think, a good strategy. It was at least helping us maximize whatever customer comfort we could give. But the other problem now is we can't prioritize customers. We internally discussed and we found out that there's no need to prioritize customers. Times are bad. We will try to be best to our customers, but all customers are equal. On that day, I got a call from New Zealand from one of my ex-customers in Bombay who had my number because of a past interaction. And he told me, my aged parents are stuck. The building is a containment zone. They don't have groceries. Can you help me out? And I could arrange it manually, but there was no way I can use the system to do it, right? Another mom reached out to me saying that my kid has this rare cancer of his stomach and he cannot digest anything. He can only drink soy milk. So that is the only sort of food product that he can easily digest. He can't drink normal milk and I'm not getting it anywhere. Can you help me out? And again, I sent it manually, which is when I realized, and literally we went back to Tejas and said, yeah, is there a way to have, can we prioritize some elderly people, some critical people and so on? And we built that product within 2 days. So within 2 days, we came up with this product on how, bypass the system and place one urgent order. And to do that, it required a lot of effort. So after that, we actually in our call center set up an entire supply chain to identify such critical customers, because every customer was urgent. But if he proved that, there is someone sick in his family or there is an elderly person or kids are there, we were able to prioritize their order. So this small intervention in terms of orders, I don't think we would have done more than 100 orders in the country out of the 2 lakh orders that we did. But those 10 orders for Mumbai, which I got delivered and, sort of pushed in line, gave me a lot of pleasure, because all of these orders came with a story and we could really help and make a difference. It was not as simple as, yeah, I'm not able to go outside. It was literally, in some cases, matter of life and death, wherein people had no way to get critical essential groceries. So just an example of how, whether you are a technology stalwart like BigBasket, who already has a lot of tech platform, there is always a room to grow and always adaptability which comes in, or someone who is primarily offline and trying to come online. COVID had taught us all, how to use the digital platform and the tech better, is what I feel.
Right. Interesting stories. I think hats off to you and your team, Tejas, as well. I mean, there are some superheroes called Tejas as well. Ajay, I'm going to flip the question for you. What happens to SMEs who are not jumping on the digital bandwagon or who don't have a clear-cut digital strategy, even at this point of time?
No, but see, that's what I have said earlier, that, unless until you adopt this type of technology, you are not going to survive. If you take the example of BSE, how come we have been able to work 24/7 without, having a single minute or single second disruption? Because every day, almost 2 lakh crore worth of trades are happening, or 5 lakh crore worth of trades are happening. You can't survive unless until you have totally automated your system and there is no disruption at all. This pandemic is the biggest disruption that we have seen in last 120 years. Okay, you have to preempt this type of situation, and how you can preempt it? By having your system fully digitized. You should have the best practices in your organization, and you should be automated. That what the things. If you see, BigBasket has shared their experience, and other companies have also shared their experience, that in this type of situation, they have also to face a very difficult situation. So these type of situations have taught us that in such sort of unprecedented situation, we should be ready with all these things. And let me tell you, there is a perception among the SMEs, or I can say MSMEs, or even some large corporates, that technology or digitization is not something which they should prioritize. Okay, for them it is just like insurance. In India, if you see, insurance is last in the priority side for most of the people in country, which is very bad. In the same way here also, especially in SME promoters and MSME promoters, we can say that they don't take digitization or automation or any other thing which is really beneficial for their company very seriously. They think that okay, they can adopt it later on. But in this type of scenario, in this type of situations, I think they must have learned all these things. And today is not a costly affair also. Let me tell you, it's not a costly affair. Yesterday, I met a promoter who is providing digital interface free of cost to the MSMEs. Okay, through even they don't have to develop their own software. They can use their software, and you can, they can generate business. So I think there are so many things. The promoters have to go outside. The promoters have to go outside. They should not sit in the office. In fact, the problem with the promoters, SME promoters, are that they never delegate the powers. They should start delegating the powers for operational efficiency and all other things to their juniors, and they should go out. They should know what are the best things that are happening in the marketplace. Then they adapt it, and they will find that they are growing at 20% or 30% year on year basis. So I think these things are the need of the hour. And let me tell you, what is science, what is invention, what is discovery? The mother of everything is the desire and the need. Okay, so today there is a desire, today is the need. You must adopt everything so that you can survive in your business. If you don't want to do the business, then I can't tell anything. But if you want to do the business, if you want it to grow, then adopt and adapt best of the practices. That is the need of the hour.
Right, adapt and adopt. That's the need of the hour. Brilliant. With that, I'm going to go across each one. One thing that's worked in your business that you would want to share with others, that probably you would want to advise a business owner or a budding entrepreneur. One thing that's worked for you last 6-7 months, Manish. Manish, if you could unmute yourself.
I'm more of a last bencher, so I'm always used to answering their questions last. So what are the questions again?
The question was one thing that's worked for you specifically last 6-7 months, something that's worked in your business that you want to probably advise a business owner on.
See, I mean, we all come from different backgrounds with various different perception as to how to lead a firm. Somebody wants it with everybody in-house, somebody wants an hybrid model, somebody wants to digitize, somebody doesn't want to digitize. But one thing which has helped me is staying fitter. So I think one thing which has saved the day for me and probably for the others who would have found it is that staying more fitter and staying more attuned and staying more slimmer, if I can use that word. I wouldn't know, but yes, that has kept me on the hooks. So irrespective of whichever business, whichever class, whatever you do, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, A to Z, staying fitter, more energetic helps throughout. And Yeah, and use my DMIT platform to identify yourself. That's a marketing pitch. But yes, apart from that, apart from that, stay fit. I mean, that's one thing which I would swear by the Bible.
Sure, sure. Staying fit. It obviously has tangible business benefits as well.
True.
Ashutosh?
Yeah, hi. So I would like to share two very small snippets. One, what I learned during the COVID lockdown, and one which I would like to leave people with right now. So during the crisis, I learned that doing what or finalizing what not to do is as important as what you want to do. So at that point of time, we had, I would say, infinite demand. We literally could do whatever we want, but we were constrained. So we let aside the principles which we had earlier said, this is the core of our business. So for example, having a big range or having a defined 2-hour time slot was a very core offering for us. But we decided that this will put strain on the resources, so we will not do that. Instead, we will focus on only serving as many people as possible. By as many people, I might actually let go of some of the sales of, say, fringe items. So say some snacking item I will not be able to deliver because I'll not sell, but I'll at least ensure that maximum people get their staples. So deciding what not to do is as important as deciding what to do during any crisis, is what I learned during the COVID lockdown. And what I would like to leave people with right now is learning how to do more with less. The thought which cannot be, underestimated. Which this is what will, help us in the long state, and this is how we'll be bounce back faster from the COVID scenario. Just how to do more with less.
Sure, interesting perspectives. Arjun?
Yeah, so I think resilience is something that we've all had to learn through this time period, right? So almost every entrepreneur, almost every business owner, almost everyone underwent their worst nightmare, which was zero revenue, zero sales, zero work, zero, right? And that's a very strange thought, right? Because there are some people who would say, oh my god, I have to go to work today, it's so stressful. But now we're saying we want to get back to work. So I think the resilience of dealing with this zero, and bringing the zero back to where you were or going above, but just fighting through the circumstance with resilience, is very important, right? Ashutosh said an important point about learning what not to do, or learning to say no. I think the other important aspect here, which I've seen, is while your goal and objective is very structured, like my goal is to get to here, because of the current situation, my path to that goal may change. And so we had to do many pivots along the way. So I think overall resilience and sticking through it was the one principle which I would tell people has really helped us.
Sure, resilience and sticking to what you have to do. Ajay?
Yeah. Sorry, I missed the question. Huh?
Yeah. So what I wanted to know was one advice that you would want to give to business owners. Of course, you've said a lot of interesting perspectives, but one key thing, one takeaway.
I will always say them that the first and foremost important thing for any promoter is to focus on their balance sheet. Okay, they must ensure that they should be always cash flow positive. I am seeing that in a hurry to increase their businesses and increase the top line, they don't focus on the cash flow. Unless until their balance sheet is healthy, unless until the cash flow is positive, I don't think any company can progress. So the promoters need to have have a very positive view onto their balance sheet. Their focus should be to keep their balance sheet as much strong as they can. Okay, not just to keep on growing the business with negative cash flow is not going to work. And the second and the most important thing that I have kept on saying is that uh, adopt and adapt the best of the practices, whether going for equity. Don't leverage your balance sheet too much on the debt side or equity side. Keep a balance of both debt and equity. And the third thing is that keep as much transparency in your business as much as you can. These are the 3-4 important pillars of any businesses. or any industry. And if the promoters are going to focus on these 3-4 pillars, I think, and I'm quite sure that their business will keep on growing.
Sure, sure. All right, that brings me to the last question. In fact, a quick, bite from everyone. I'll split into 3 sub questions. What have you been reading during the lockdown? How have you been reading it, digital or offline? And who's your influencer? So that just we understand more about you. I'll repeat the questions. Maybe we can start off with Ajay. Ajay, since I see you, Ajay, what have you been reading?
No, but in fact, I have been reading a lot of articles on which were coming on digital media, which were being pushed by very influential people, and especially I keep on subscribing to the articles that are being pushed by IMF or World Bank, and I try to understand where the businesses, where the economy is going on. So these have been the focuses during this lockdown period, and the second focus was on health. So fortunately, during this lockdown period, I have been able to reduce my weight by 12 kg. So I think these were the two: health and of course, reading a little bit. So these were the main focus. And of course, the second most important thing was the guiding SME promoters a lot. So these were the focus areas during this lockdown. Let me tell you, in this lockdown also, I think today I'm sitting in 87th webinar. And prior to that, already 86 webinars I have done.
Well, I'm sure I'm going to make it to the Guinness Book of Records very soon. But Ajay, more power to you. I think lots to learn from you. Ashutosh, what have you getting your hands on?
So, to be honest, I'm not very active on social media platforms other than LinkedIn. I do read a lot of LinkedIn posts and articles, majorly for the shorter and easier to read content. I read a lot of InShots. However, I prefer still prefer to read books. The last book that I have read is Give and Take by Mr. Adam Grant. So I keep reading a book. I try to finish one a month, and lockdown has actually given me some more time to brush up on that habit.
Sure. One influencer you look out for always?
I don't think I'll know anyone to answer that. Sorry.
Sure. Arjun?
Yeah, so like Ashutosh said, I've become super active on LinkedIn through this time period, and I've been posting a lot myself. In terms of reading, I have been sort of reading a lot, but over the last 6-7 weeks, because the IPL is on and I'm a huge sports fan, I've been totally hooked and glued onto reading about the effect of sport in this current time period. So not just watching the IPL games, obviously I watch all the games, etc., all of that, but just like how sport has improved the way people think and sort of given people hope and excitement. So that's what I've been reading right now, to be honest, and I've been trying to draw a lot of insights from sports to business and entrepreneurship, and sharing this with my team and other folks. So that's what's been keeping me busy.
That's a very interesting perspective, how sports can actually impact people. And I think you must be very happy Mumbai won. So
yeah, very excited, yeah.
Sure. Vaibhav? Vaibhav, you're on mute. If you could unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
What's the question? Can you come again?
So the question is, probably Manish can come in, and it's the same question for everyone. Manish, what have you been reading, and who's your influencer, and what kind of, is it a digital medium, or you still prefer the offline thing?
Well, I'm still from the old school of thought of books, so I've always been a very voracious reader, and the pandemic has definitely helped me go to the first love of reading books. So mythological books have always kept me onto the core. In the digital platform, I did read a lot of Google Analytics tool books. Apart from that, I think the scam, Suchita Dalal's book, I read it through again once more to understand what was the difference in what they showed and what was it written. I'm a big Warren Buffett fan. Autobiographies of Warren Buffett. One book which I would tell everybody is what the Steve Jobs book written by Isaacson. So I think mythology, couple of autobiographies, and I have a 2-year-old child, so she has been so a lot of fable books and back to Hanuman books is something which has also got me excited. And so right from teaching and learning a 2-year-old child and A to Z to Devdutt Patnaik's uh, the Ravan has helped me rework. But yes, I would always prefer old school of books rather than the scent and the pale book. Okay, with the brownish color still gives an aura of reading through it. So yeah, that's how it has
Right.
helped me.
No feeling can match that for sure. Vaibhav?
So I'm not a guy who generally likes reading much apart from newspapers. But yeah, again, I have two children, and my kids are like like just like Manish said. So I had to sit with them and went through again Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, some interesting stories. But yeah, I would definitely say that I enjoyed watching the whole OTT platform, the way it's picked up. Now that theaters are shut, also nobody, I don't really, I see guys working for me discussing dialogues of web series like Mirzapur and all. So that means everybody is stuck to OTT. So I watched probably everything on Hotstar, Netflix, Prime. I went back to some Tarantino films, the gangster genre, which I really like. I started my own YouTube channel. I'm an actor. I mean, I've done lots of films, movies, and all. So I started my own YouTube channel. I got some camera kits. I learned some lighting, direction, and thought about some scripts to write. So this was a good break in COVID and a positive thing which happened. I established the production house for shoots and all. So I'm very happy and very kicked up about it. Yeah.
Brilliant, Vaibhav. I think you're making the most of this lockdown. I'll now move to Manish Singh from Tata Teleservices. So what are the opportunities ahead, and how can Tata Teleservices help SMEs and businesses?
Yeah, okay. See, as I said in my opening remark, that the current situation has really given birth to a lot of opportunities, and in the various uh, remarks that I could hear, one thing is very coming out very profoundly is that any SME which is digitally forward in today's scenario would be able to turn the wheel a little more faster than somebody who's not. So uh, what we do is using these kind of platforms, and we do a lot of seminars where we invite a lot of SMEs, which is on an online platform at the moment, where we are taking them through different technologies which is helping SMEs around the world. Okay, more specifically in India, and how it's important for them to really adopt to these technologies, because in the long run these adoption will really help them a lot. So we are carrying out a lot of webinars, a lot of such sessions with various SMEs. We are going vertical wise. So we have Booker products, which is for a healthcare vertical, for a BFSI vertical, for a manufacturing vertical, and so we are creating those platforms for them where we are taking them through various technologies. And the intention here is more in terms of awareness rather than in terms of trying to sell a product very specifically, so that we want them to come as close as possible to the digital adoption, because in my interaction with various SMEs, I've seen that some of them are very scared to adopt technology, because two things: one, they are not sure whether they'll be able to adopt; secondly, they think that probably this is a very expensive affair. But once they really get a hang of it, they realize that it's not a very expensive affair. It is something which probably is a kind of a small investment today, but can really bring in great results in the future. So I think that that's it.
Sure.
And we are continuously seeking feedbacks from the market and developing products. So as an organization, we give great weightage on such feedbacks basis which we develop our next product lines. And today we have almost 65 to 70 products in our portfolio, which is meant for SMEs of in today's scenario. Yeah, that much. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.